Sometimes we travel to other countries, sometimes we travel to other cities, and sometimes we travel within ourselves, within ourselves, within ourselves.
Hey guys, what is up? I'm down here in Gastown, and today is going to be a special kind of video for me because this is going to be my first time ever trying a flotation tank. I'm hoping I can get the owner, this guy named Mike, to explain a little bit about it before I go in. But if you don't know, essentially you're sitting in this flotation tank, sensory deprivation tank actually, because you can't really see anything, you can't hear anything, unless you want some calming music. But the idea is you want to have as little of your senses activated as possible, and it's sort of similar to meditation. Like, you get some deep thoughts going on. I don't really know what else to say because I haven't done it yet, but I'm excited to show you what it's all about. I haven't really done anything different than my normal day. I did pack a bathing suit because I think you're supposed to wear a bathing suit in there.
Yeah, so that was my first mistake. Floating is usually done in the nude.
But yeah, the owner, Mike, he's hopefully gonna meet with me before I go in and explain like details like that.
I was starting to repeat myself. If you guys can't tell, I was nervous.
I am a bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wasn't when I signed up for this, but now that I'm about to go do it, it's kind of like, it's 90 minutes, so that's a long time to be alone with your thoughts. I gotta be ready for this.
And just then, as if I were living in a movie, I saw one of those signs on the street that seemed to be written just for me.
I like that. A little message from the universe before my first float. Okay, I'm at the corner of Abbott and Cordova, and I think it's just across the street. There it is.
The time had come to pull open that door, leave the busy sidewalk, and enter the float house.
I am Mike Zaremba, and I'm the co-founder here at Float House, and we've been open for about 4 years. My brother and I discovered floating back in late 2010. Heard about floating, found a tank in a lady's basement in Port Coquitlam, and decided to go for a float, and after one float each we decided to buy our own tank. We put about 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in every single float tank.
Wow.
So that's about 18, 19 of these bags, 50-pound bags, and it's all
each tank.
In every tank. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's basically 10 inches of water with 1,000 pounds of salt, and so it's extremely dense.
So this is my first look at the float room.
Cool. So we have a float tank, we have a shower, little changing area, and that's basically it.
So here I am for scale, just so you know, this thing is huge. You're gonna have more than enough space in there.
And you're not like stuck in there. You can get out and exit whenever you want to. You are in complete control. The hatch here just opens and closes on its own. Like, you can just pull it open. So like, I mean, you gotta be compassionate with yourself and give.
Mike's talk lasted about 20 minutes. I don't know if it helped calm my nerves, but I could tell this is definitely something he was passionate about.
So Mike is obviously a wealth of information, giving me lots of great advice for my first float. If you were to look back on your own first float experience, however many years ago that was, one key takeaway or one piece of advice you could give people?
I say work with yourself and trust yourself, and so that if at first it's kind of uncomfortable in any way, to just work with that and try to, ride it out, if you will. Even for my first float for 50 minutes, it was relatively uncomfortable, and then I finally just kind of let go and relaxed in there, and that's where I realized, like, oh, I see where this is going. I see where I can take this, because I've done meditation in the past and had a yoga practice, and I saw where that kind of shift in that release and that letting go was taking me. Just stay open and straight and try to work through that initial, any type of bumps of resistance you might come across in the beginning.
It's great advice. Cool. I'm ready to let go of this camera and try it out.
Cool,
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
you feel
that.
good?
Yeah.
Sometimes we travel to other countries. Sometimes we travel to other cities. And sometimes we travel within ourselves, within ourselves, within ourselves.
So I guess I should start by saying that I survived the float. So I came home, I had a quick dinner, and it's about an hour after the float ended now. And I've had a bit of time to reflect on what happened. I still don't have a lot of words to properly explain it, but I can tell you a bit about my experience. I guess the first thing to know is that floating is...
I struggle to find my words. I have so many thoughts that I can't keep them straight.
It's a difficult to explain sensation. I guess it's like the first time an astronaut goes into space, like that feeling of weightlessness. You think you know what it's like to lie down or just to kind of rest in water, but this is truly weightlessness. I'll go more into my thoughts later. My thoughts, everyone's thought process during it's going to be different. I had some moments where I was really sort of in the flow and meditating, and I was focused on my breathing, but there were moments when I would be very much aware of where I was and starting to think too much about the tank and to wonder like, oh, like how long has it been? When am I getting out? And one time that feeling got so strong that I actually had to reach up, and I was thinking about getting out, but I didn't want myself to. I wanted the full experience, the full 90 minutes. So I just opened it a crack, just to remind myself that everything's okay. Like you can get out whenever you want. Because that could be a thought that you guys have too. I think it's very common to have some degree of like anxiety or nerves about the situation, because it's most likely like nothing you've ever experienced before. But I'll tell you this, when it was done, when I got out, and then you take another shower when it's over, and they've got this body wash, and I normally don't have a really strong sense of smell, but as soon as I took the body wash and smelled it, it was like walking into a forest on like a cool morning. Like it was just a rush of smell, and I'm like, I'm back into the world that I know. I'm out of this tank. And it was the same experience when I finally stepped outside and caught a bit of sunshine peeking through the clouds. Just the brightness of it was stunning. It's a rebirth. It's the feeling of a rebirth. Like waking up from a long, long sleep.
As I think back on my first float experience, I can't help think of Plato's cave. The story of this cave where people live in darkness, and one person manages to get out of the cave and see what the world is really like outside. He sees the brightness. He sees that everything he thought he knew before was just shadows. And then after, when he returns to the cave, he tries to explain it to the other people, but they don't understand. In fact, they think he's crazy because he's not making any sense. I think there's a bit of truth to that when it comes to your first float experience, or any kind of radically different experience that people might not understand. And they don't have to understand. The point of this video isn't to make you understand everything. It's just to perhaps give rise to some curiosity in folks who haven't heard of floating before and might be interested in adding this to their own lives.
Yeah, I guess beyond that, like you kind of got to experience it for yourself. They say that you don't get the full experience until 2 or 3 floats. So yeah, I can't really, I have no frame of reference. I can't tell you what the true experience was, but I can tell you that there were times in there that I was very content. there were times that I was a bit nervous and uneasy, but now that it's over, like the food I just had was amazing. I feel relaxed. I don't feel stressed about anything actually. So from a meditative perspective, I feel good.
Full disclosure, I did reach out to Mike beforehand, and he offered me free floats in exchange for making this video. So I would not think of this as an advertisement, in that I'm not obligated to say anything at all. These are all my own thoughts. But I do want to make that part clear. This was an opportunity that I'm very glad I had. Whether or not I will add floating to my life, I don't know. More likely, I will think of it as something like a massage. When I am feeling a lot of stress in my body, I will try to go for a massage. When I'm feeling a lot of stress in my mind and I just want to declutter my thoughts and relax a little bit, I will go for a float. So that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, I'm Dan from The New Travel, and I will see you on the road.